Be'ez Hashem Yisboch, we begin Perek Achar Asa, the 11th chapter in the Rambam's Hilchos Avodas Kochavim, the laws of idolatry, and the customs of its servant, of those who serve it, which are actually the theme of these last two parakim. In the Sefer the Book of Knowledge, which we begin Perek Achar Asa, the 11th chapter, which talks about Chukos Oivedeha and different types of nichush and kishuv that are practiced by these idol worshippers. As the Rambam gets halacha of regarding the obligation for us to be different from the Gentile nations. In holchim b'chukos, we don't go into statutes, in the customs of the idol worshippers. We don't compare ourselves to them. Not in our clothing, not in our hair. Because of them, similar types of things, like it says in the pasuk in Vayikra, don't go in the statutes, in the ways of the Gentiles. Then it says in the pasuk, in the statutes don't go. And then it says in the pasuk in the bottom, be careful, that you might get snared after them. It's all the same idea. It's warning us that we should not be similar to them. Rather, the Jewish people should be separated from them. He should be known by in his clothing, with his other actions. Just like he's different than them, with his philosophy and his outlook, in his character. That's how he has to be different in his appearance too. Says the pasuk, and I separated you from the nations. You shouldn't wear the clothing that's distinct for them. You shouldn't grow the locks of his hair like the locks of their head. He shouldn't shave his hair from the sides, leave the hair in the middle, like they do. This is called bleiris, which is this type of like a ponytail that's left in the middle. He shouldn't shave off the hair that's opposite his face, from one ear to the other ear, and leave just the large hair from behind, like they do. He shouldn't build places like the structures of these temples of the idol worshippers, that the masses should come in there, like they do. Whoever does one of these things or similar types of things, he gets lashes. If an idol worshipper was getting a haircut from a Jewish barber, once the Jewish barber gets close to that ponytail, 3 finger breadths in all directions, he has to let his hand go, because if he does it all the way to there, he's like assisting in creating this ponytail, which then gets worshipped and cut off for Avodah Zarah. Therefore, you have to separate that you don't get close, so that you're not creating that bleiris. Halacha Gimel. Yisrael shar karv l'malchus, a Jew that was close to the government, but he has to sit in front of their ministers. And it would be disgraceful for him because he wouldn't be similar to them. He's allowed to wear their clothing and to shave opposite his face, like the way they do, and have the hair grow in the back to be similar to them. Halacha Daled continues now regarding different types of customs, chukos, that the Kochavim do, which are related to the context of this prohibition of Avodah Zarah. Again, these are all similar to what the idol worshippers do, although it might not be the actual idol worship itself. You cannot do nichush. It says in the pasuk, nachashu. So, what does it mean to do nachash that's prohibited? Like, for example, those who say, whoa, since the bread fell out of my mouth, or the stick fell out of my hand, okay, it's a bad sign. I'm not going to that place today. Because if I go, my desires are not going to be done. Or since a fox went by on my right side, I'm not leaving the entryway of my house today. If I go out, I'm going to encounter a deceitful person. Or those who hear the chirping of the birds, they say, it's going to be like this, not going to be like this. Or Tov Lasadova plane, it's good to do that thing, but Lasadova plane, it's bad to do that thing. To those who say, so slaughter this rooster, Shekada Orbis, because it's calling out like an oriv, like a raven. Or Shchat Tanagalazu, or slaughter this hen, Shekada Kamei Tanagal, because it's crowing like a rooster. Or someone makes omens for himself. Immediately, says, if this happens, I'm going to do this thing. If it doesn't happen to me, I'm not going to do it. Like Eliezer, the servant of Avram, that he relied on his nichush. And he said, okay, the girl that's going to come out, and I'm going to tell her to give me the drink, and she's going to say, oh, you and your camels are going to drink. Oh, she's the one for the servant Yitzchak. And that's what he did. He was so confident that right away, after she gave him to drink in his camels, before he even asked her who she is, before he knew that she's from the family, he already was proposing to her that anything that's similar to those things, it's all forbidden. Whoever does an action because of these types of things, Loika is going to get lashes for nichush, for making these types of omens. Halacha hey, if someone says, Dira Zoi Shabanisi, oh, this apartment, this house that I built, was a good sign for me, meaning from the moment I built it, I was successful in my business. Now, he's not using it to inform the future based on this, he's just celebrating in this good sign. Or Isha Zush Nasasi, this woman that I married, or Behema Zush Kanisa, this animal that I acquired, was a blessed one. Me'esha Kanisia Sharti, from the moment I bought it, I became wealthy. If someone asks a child, is a pasuk at the limit, what verse are you learning? If he tells him a pasuk from the blessings in the Torah, Yismach v'yem, he rejoices and he says, this is a good sign. So and all these, and so those that are similar to this, is mutter is permitted. Why? He's not focusing his action over. He's not holding back from doing something based on that. Rather, he's just making a sign for himself, but something that was already, that is permitted. That's not a problem of nichush, of creating omens. Above, continuing with the next isra of kasamim. Ezehu kaisim. What's the prohibition of the Torah not to do kaisim? So, and this is what the idol worshippers do. This one does an action from other types of actions, that he should become like confounded, overcome, and that his thoughts should be cleared out from all things, like from what's going on around him, as if he's in a trance, is not experiencing what's here in this world, until he says things that are going to be in the future. He says, this is going to be, or it's not going to be, or he says that this is appropriate to do, and to be careful from this. There are those who do this kisam while he's feeling around with sand or with stones. And then you have those who fall down on the ground, and he shakes or toik and he screams. You have those that look in a mirror of metal or of crystal or medamim, and then they imagine and they say what they're saying. You have those that he holds a stick in his hand, he leans on it, and he hits with it, until his mind clears out. He gets in this trip, in this psychedelic trip, and he speaks. This is what the prophet says in Isaiah, Ami, my people, he asks his wood, and his stick tells him that's this Isser of Kaisim. Now, halacha zayin, also liksam, it's forbidden for a person himself to do these actions of Ksam, and balishal Kaisim, also to ask a Kaisim. Elabad, shashtrela Kaisim, someone who asks the Kaisim, only makas only given rabbinic lashes of rebellion. But the one who does the kisim himself, if he does one of these actions or similar, so there's an action related to it, then you get loiki, gets lashes. Like it says in the pasuk in the bottom, should not find by you someone that passes his son, which is a different this, and then it goes on. It says kaisim kisamim. This way of divination is forbidden. Halacha ches regarding the next category of ma'inin. Is there ma'inin? What is it that the Torah says forbidden of ma'inin? So that's elu noisne itim, which is from the term of oina, which is those who give certain times. That they say in their astrology that they glorify to say the future based on the stars and the way they travel. That Yom Plani type, that day is good. Yom Plani Ra, that day is bad. Yom Plani Ra Lasa B'Malacha Plani, that day is good to do that work. Shana Plani is that year, or Chodesh Plani that month is a relative, or Plani is bad for that thing. So that's Ma'inin. Halachatas Asla Oinin, forbidden to do this Oinin. Even though he didn't do an action, just lets them know hakazavim, these lies, that the fools think are words of truth and words of wisdom. That is also already forbidden in being ma'inin, in looking at and saying what the astrological future is. Whoever does something because of their astrology, and he focuses what he does or where he goes. But at that time, that those who divide the heavens into different portions to know the future based on how the stars are going. It says in the pasuk, that one should not go ahead and do based on the oina on a certain time period, as the pasuk beikar. Now, so to someone, what means literally grabs the eyes, which is the sleight of hand, some type of a magic that looks like things that which are not in the actual signs of matter, and he makes it appear in front of those who see, that he's doing some wondrous act. He's not really doing it. So that's from the term of einayim. Ma'inin has ayin nun. That's also included ma'inin, and Malaki is also going to get lashes for doing that too. Halacha Yud, continue with the next category of chaver. Is there chaver? What's someone who does this chaver that's also forbidden? So this is someone who speaks words that are not from the parlance. It's not from the terminology of the regular people. Just some types of verbalizations. And it doesn't have any true content and understanding. And he entertains with his foolishness that those words are effective until they say, if someone says this incantation regarding a snake, on a scorpion, you're not going to get harmed. Or if it says such and such on a man, in nizik, he's not going to get harmed. You have from them that he holds in his hand when he's talking, mafteach, a key, or a or a rock, or similar types of things. These are all forbidden. Now, the one who's doing this chaver himself, that he's holding something in his hand, or he's doing an action with his words, which that's very important because one does not get lashed until he does an action. So although it's prohibited, but one wouldn't get lashed until there's an action, or even if he just points with his finger, but he's doing an action, and he's like he gets lashed, and like it says in the pasuk, and it goes on, it says chaver, which is this iser. But if he only says words, and he doesn't move, not a finger, not a sit, he had nothing in his hand. Or let's say a person that the chaver, the one who is doing this, says to him, these voices. He's just sitting in front of him. And he imagines that he has some type of pleasure from this. So if there was no action with this, so we give him the lashes of rebellion, because he's participating in the foolishness of this person who is committing this sin of chaver. Now all these voices, and these bizarre names that are repulsive, it won't harm a person. It also won't do a good to a person. A person does not have to be afraid. The Rambam tells us there's no validity at all to any of these practices. An exception is regarding incantations on a wound. If someone has a scorpion or a snake bit him, you're allowed to whisper a certain incantation on the place of the bite. Which one's generally not allowed to do these types of things, of refu or certain types of speech, so that he could calm his consciousness down, to strengthen his heart. You're allowed to do that and say this lachash. Although, as Rambam says, these words are not effective at all. But since he's in danger, they permitted him so he shouldn't become overwhelmed, because oftentimes a person's own homeostasis is disturbed by his mental dysregulation, and therefore to calm himself down, he's allowed to say these things. Halachid Beis. Now, if someone whispers on the wound, and he says a pasuk from the Torah, and if someone says a pasuk on the child that he shouldn't become afraid, or let's some places a Torah scroll or a tefillin on the child, that he should fall asleep, not isn't it enough that they're included in the sinful categories of nichush and chaver, which are these types of practices that as if there's something superstitious that's effective, but actually the deniers of the Torah. They're making like the words of Torah are healing for the body, but the Torah is only healing for the soul. Shlomo says in the pasuk in Mishneh, they will be life for your soul, and you can't use it to heal physical sicknesses. Now, but a healthy person, that recites verses of Mizmor Metelim or a chapter from Tehillim, that it should protect on him the merit of reciting that Tehillim, when they should save him from difficulties and from damages, that is permitted. Continue with the next category of Doida Shalamesim. those who look for answers from the dead. What's included in the Isser of seeking from the dead? So this refers to someone who starves himself, and he goes and he sleeps in the cemetery, so that a dead person should come to him in his dream, and should let him know regarding what he's asking. There are others, they put on certain clothing, they say certain words, and they sacrifice certain type of incense, they sleep by themselves, so that dead person should come and talk with him in the dream. The rule of this all is whoever does an action, that a dead person should come and notify him, like he gets lashed, like it says in the pasuk again, these are all there in that pasuk, etc., and it mentions these different things that we're saying. But those who seek for the dead, says the pasuk, that's included in that isser. Next category that's forbidden to ask regarding those who do the kishuv of oiv or yudaini. It's forbidden to ask regarding the one who practices the necromancy of oiv or yudaini. Like it says in the pasuk, again. That's talking about Ma'av b'noi l'melech, and then it goes on, says all these different items mentioned, and said whoever asks the oiv yudaini. So in the Mitzvah Lamed comes out that you learn that the ones who do this practice of oiv yudaini themselves, they get stoned to death. But Nishbam, whoever's asking them, that the pasuk said b'shoyel, that's bazhar, that's a negative prohibition. But you only give him rabbinic lashes because he didn't do an action with his asking. Now, but if he, let's say, focuses his actions for us and he did an action based on their words, then he's going to get lashed because now it's a lav sheyesh b'maisa has an action related to it. Look at Tezvav regarding kishuv, regarding sorcery. The one who practices sorcery, type of like a black magic, is chayv skila, is liable for the death penalty of being stoned. This is if he did an actual practice of sorcery, which is real magic but black. But someone does sleight of hand, and someone just makes it appear, he makes it look like as if it did something incredible beyond the laws of nature, but he really didn't do it. It just gives that appearance. Look at Makas Martis, he gets the rabbinic lashes, but not actual lashes. Because this negative prohibition should never be mechashav that says regarding the one who practices sorcery, which includes this, is included in this pasuk that we said it shouldn't be found by you, etc., which they are love, it's a negative prohibition, which could be given over as a warning, which would lead to capital punishment. Now the halacha is, love. One does not get lashes for anything that could lead up to capital punishment, which would be the case for machashiv, which this is included in this halacha. So meaning the machashiv, we said the eiches zinayim is only rabbinically prohibited. But regarding the machashiv, we're saying that he's chayiv skila, so that's what we're saying, that this machashiv, since he's included in the pasuk that would give him, it says that a sorcerer will not live, so therefore we say that he's not going to get actual lashes, and he's going to be pater, is only going to be because of, at least for that of machashiv, only the punishment of skila. Halachah Zayin, regarding that the Rambam decries all these things that they're lies and they're false. Now these things, all the words of Nachash and Kishuv, all the things that we mentioned, they're all lies and they're falsehood. And these are the things that the earlier idol worshippers misled to the nations of the lands, that they should follow after them. And now it's not appropriate for Jews who are smart sages to be drawn after these foolishness. Tells them they shouldn't entertain that there's even any effectiveness to them. It says in the pasuk in Bamidbar, there's no black magic in the Jewish people, but there's no divination amongst Yisrael. But then it says the pasuk in Devarim, because these nations Ashata Yerush, that you're inheriting them, they would listen to astrologers and to diviners. But you, the Jewish people, you're not like this, etc. Now, whoever believes these things or similar types of things, and he thinks in his heart that the true are words of wisdom, but the Torah says it's forbidden. They're only from the fools and those who are lacking intelligence. They're included in the category of women and children that don't have complete intelligence. But men of wisdom and completeness of intelligence, they know with clear proofs. All these things that the Torah says forbidden, they're not words of wisdom, they're emptiness and vanity, shenimshechu behem chasei das, which are drawn after them, those who are lacking understanding, but not true called darkei emes beglom, and they forsake all the paths of truth because of them. Therefore the Torah says, when they warn regarding all these vanities, it says, Tamim tiyeh mishamakecha. One should be complete with Hashem your God. That's only those who are complete. Those who are lacking think there's something to this, but those who are tamim realize there's nothing here.